Hey guys, it's Bailey and welcome back to the channel for a video that is all about products that for some reason or another just didn't work for me. I think the last time I talked about products that I wouldn't recommend you go out and purchase was in my 2015 hits and misses, which it's been way too long. So the last weekend I did a big beauty purge where I got rid of old stuff that was limited edition, so I'm gonna give away to family and friends just because it doesn't make sense for me to talk about it here if you can't get your hands on it, stuff like that. And in doing so, I realized there are quite a few products that I want to get rid of because I just don't like them. They didn't work for me, and as usual, this is entirely about my personal experience, so if you had great experiences with them, awesome. You should definitely share that in the comments below because not everyone will have the same experience. Could be dependent on skin type or daily habits, things like that. So if you've had success with these, be sure to share them down below in the comments in case somebody else is still on the fence, not quite sure whether they still want to go for these products or not. Maybe your input will help make their decision, but I cannot in good conscience recommend these products, and I'll tell you why. First, let's talk about a hair product, or rather a hair tool that I feel so dumb for buying. This is the Conair Waterfall Braid Maker. I can't braid. Fun fact. This is the extent, and curling is what I got going for my hair. That's it. I lack the coordination or like dexterity in my hands to braid beyond like a simple, and even that turns out looking a little rough. So I thought, you know, braids are very in still, I think, right? I don't know. So I got this because I can't do a waterfall braid or any of those fun braids. Let's take this out. This complicates things. I feel like, so you get this foam thing and that's numbered here on the edges and you're supposed to put one strand there and like rotate it. It's dumb. It is as complicated as I am making it sound. It's just ridiculous. And you watch YouTube videos, people doing it and they like, boom, their hair is braided. So like, look at this step by step. This is ridiculous. I don't know. Dud. Absolute dud. Would not recommend it even if you think this is a solution to your braiding woes. Don't. Next up, there are actually a lot of products in this video that I will have talked about in other videos. A few of them when I've done unboxings like Play by Sephora or Ipsy, things like that. But because I know not everyone watches those videos because they don't do the whole monthly subscription thing, it's just not their, what they're into, I figured I'd include them in this video since people when they're looking for products they need to steer clear of, they pretty consistently click on these videos. So some of these you might have heard me talk about my dislike for, but I figure they also need to be in this video as well. First of which is the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Concealer, Aqua Sealer Concealer. This guy, it smells awful. Smells awful and didn't work for me. I mean, it just didn't give me the kind of coverage that I'm after compared to what I'm currently using. And the smell, it just smells like a paint thinner. Like it just is, and I'm not terribly sensitive to scent and I don't find it lingers, but just it's so strong that even in taking this big old doe foot and popping it under your eyes, in that one motion the scent is still overwhelming. So yeah, it just was not worth continued use. For the price, I think there are a lot of other things out there that would do a better job without the scent. Up next is a set that I actually recently talked about in a duper dud. They are the e.l.f. Precision Sponge Trio, and this I compared to the good old Beauty Blender, and they're not awful sponges, but they do retain a lot of moisture and they remain a little bit more firm compared to the Beauty Blender. So I found that made for a more tricky time blending, like it just took a lot of pouncing by comparison, and despite retaining more water, it still seemed like it soaked up a lot of product while at the same time diluting the product that went on my face. I did a demo of one, like the e.l.f. applying using the e.l.f. sponges on one side of my face and the Beauty Blender on the other, and there was just a noticeable difference in the kind of coverage I could get out of the e.l.f. over the Beauty Blender. And then to top it all off, you get all three of these sponges in this precision set, to function differently within your makeup routine. Like here's your foundation, I use this for liquid bronzer, you could use it for blush, things like that. And then like this little guy for concealer. I did exactly what I did using these three, but just with the Beauty Blender on the other side of my face. And once again, I like the results more. So even though this is only $6, it's $6 you can save, or is it 6? It might be even more than 6. Either way, it's not gonna break the bank if you buy it, but it's money that you can save knowing that it's just not as good as the Beauty Blender. So there you go. Next is a product that The product itself I love, and in love with, and I raved about it when I first got it, and just slowly but surely the packaging has deteriorated to such that I can't really use, I can't use half the product anymore, which defeats the purpose. It's the Makeup Forever Pro Sculpting Lip 2-in-1 lip sculpting pen. And basically on one side you have the lip color here, beautiful. These are matte, they go on so satiny on the lips, they're very comfortable, they're minimal transfer even though they do look and feel kind of like a true lipstick. Very minimal transfer. And then you go in on the other side and you have what is kind of a sponge tip that collects powder that's on like in the other end here, twisted in there, and it's this pearlescent powder that you can use to make your lips appear fuller. I loved everything about this product, but this particular shade number 10, was my go-to, so I traveled with it, I used it a lot, got thrown in purses and suitcases, things like that. And over the course of time, it doesn't stay. This is spring-loaded because the sponge tip really needs to get into that powder, but as a result, this flimsy plastic packaging broke like a month and a half into using it and traveling with it, and now it won't stay on. So it's just such a shame, and it's not a cheap, I mean, it's Makeup Forever, so it's not, you know, cheap. So if they could just step up the packaging, that would be ideal. But because of that, I wouldn't recommend dropping a ton of money on a product that you, unless you don't plan on taking it with you throughout the day, but this is the kind of color and product that you really can go and effortlessly touch up with throughout the day. So I wish they'd figure that out, because that has made this product a total dud for me. Next up is a product that I talked about in one of the recent Sephora hauls from the brand Milk Makeup. It's one of their shadow liner, and I thought it'd be a fun shade, Electric Blue Hustler, to get for the summer. And the premise is kind of that it's an eyeliner that can be used both as a liner and a shadow, and so to help facilitate that, they put it in this interesting shape where it's like, in one profile it looks like a platypus bill, and on the other it looks like a stick kind of thing. Either way, it doesn't work. The consistency of this product is a little too thick and waxy that no matter how I try to apply it, whether it is as a liner or as an all over eye color, it just skips, it goes on patchy, it's hard to blend out, it just is not a good, the formula doesn't match the shape. Like for this shape, it needs to be very creamy, but at the same time has to retain the shape so it could function both as a liner and an all over color. So I just, yeah, there are just some issues there, and as a result, I wouldn't recommend this to anyone. Next up is a product that I don't think I've said anything about on the channel. I picked it up about a month ago, have been using it, and it's not an awful product, but for the price point, I feel like it really needs to blow you away. It's the Kevyn Aucoin, the Neo Bronzer, and I got Sienna Warm Coral. There is a cool pink version, but going into summer, I knew I'd want something a little bit warmer toned, and like, how beautiful is that? The premise is that obviously it's this amazing gradient. You have your bronzer, your blush, and your highlight, and it's a 3-in-1, or you could swirl them all together, I suppose, to get all over glowy, goddessy goodness. But this just gets too muddy on me. The highlighter is good. The highlighter, I can get a clean application on the tops of the cheekbones. The blush kind of bleeds into the highlighter, so sometimes it's a little too shimmery. Like I'll find that my blush is a little washed out by the hint of highlight that because it's a very strong and beautiful highlight, but anytime it's mixed in too much with the blush, it just blends in. Likewise with the bronzer, I gotta be honest, I found it hard to get any sort of application that wasn't muddy with this bronzer. Anytime I took even the smallest fan brush right over here, it seemed like I constantly had this peach right there with it in my contour. And so maybe you wouldn't have that same kind of issue with the pink, but I just found with this guy, for as expensive as it is, because what is it? It's like 58 bucks, you know, it should really be high functioning, and this just didn't do it for me. So I would skip this. Kevyn Aucoin has some amazing products that are worth a splurge. This is just not it for me. Up next are some Ipsy and Play by Sephora finds. I believe these were in the May boxes. First, let's start with some Tarte. You might have seen me try this. It was ridiculous when I did a demo of this in the video, but it's a Tartist lip liner in the shade Latergram, and it was pretty, the comments below the video, the Play by Sephora where I unboxed this and did a demo, comments were pretty consistently, everyone had this experience. The pencil is tiny, which is great for a super precise lip line, but the formula is so hard and dry that it kept breaking on me. I mean, I couldn't get all the way across my lips without it breaking and having to crank it back up. And the pigmentation, like, you know, I had to either go over it multiple times very, very lightly or do it hard and get the pigmentation I wanted and then risk breaking it off. So poor formula or poor packaging, I can't really tell, but either way, not a win from me. However, what I'm not sure of is if this is the full-size packaging. That's something that not a whole lot of people had input on in the comments there, was whether or not this is actually how they come, and I'm not inclined to buy one to find out just because of my experience with that. And then the other find from an Ipsy bag same month was the Starlooks. This is a cream eyeshadow in rose gold, and I like Starlooks. I think they have a lot of good products, but this cream eyeshadow is just not one of them. It was a patchy mess. As it was drying, as I was trying to blend it out while it was drying, it kept getting sticky and sticking more to my finger than it did to my eye, and so then it was patchy and more glittery. There's so many products out there now, especially now that metallic finish is like the thing to do on the eyes. There are so many products out there that do the job right, and this is just not one of them. And the last product is really just the shade. It's the NYX Liquid Suede Cream Lipstick, but the shade specifically is, what is it? Life's a Beach, this guy. And I bought this along with like one or two other shades. This was the first one I tried though, because I'm a sucker for coral, obviously. And I tried it, hated it, and didn't try the rest of them. So I finally got, something compelled me to try the other deep red shade that I had. Absolutely gorgeous. I think it came in an Ipsy bag probably. And so I tried it there and fell in love with it. Like, I didn't have the same issues that I did with this guy where it was just streaky and patchy, wore unevenly, applied horribly. Nothing good to say about this shade. So unfortunately there are inconsistencies within the Liquid Suede line, but there are some good shades. Life's a Beach just isn't among them, so this guy is getting tossed. And that's it. Those are all my current duds. Like I said, I am not trying to bash any of these brands or products, but you know, hearing other people's experiences, good or bad, can help you decide on whether or not the product is right for you to try. So hopefully this video helped you out in that way. Otherwise, as I said before, please don't hesitate to comment down below letting me know if you like any of these products, why you like them, why they might not have worked for me, but they might work for somebody else. Absolutely do that in the comments below. Thank you guys, as usual, so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye guys.